Welcome, everybody, to the Unitarian Society of Northampton and Florence. I'm Elaine Apthorpe. I am your worship associate this morning. During the summer, the ceiling of the Great Hall at USNF is undergoing restoration, and we're grateful to be meeting here at Bombyx through August. And I think you want to talk now or later? Later. All right. You can get more further details on the USNF website. If you're new or returning after time away, we're especially glad to see you, but we're glad to see all of you. To receive information about all that we do and to get on our mailing list, we direct you to our website where you can fill out an online welcome card. The greeters at the back of the sanctuary also have a QR code so you can scan it to access the welcome card. And there's a link to an online version in the chat. Visitors should look for anyone with a pink name tag to answer any questions they might have. We strive to be a congregation that welcomes everybody. People of all ages, races, religious beliefs, backgrounds, sexual orientations, gender identities, abilities, the whole 9 yards. We belong to the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations, and we are guided and inspired by its values and principles. We're glad that you're joining us for summer services, which are often lay-led and less formal than during other parts of the year. Please see our website for complete information about summer services. Our interim minister, Reverend Eric Cherry, is currently on vacation, and our new settled minister, Reverend Melissa Carville-Zemer, will begin her ministry with us on August 4th. Today, we have a special treat. Lynn Marie Wanamaker, who's been in the society for over 25 years, and as many of you remember, has given many a memorable, powerful, inspiring, and enlightening sermon for us, is about to do it again. A wonderful, wonderful gift to all of us. We strive to be a congregation that welcomes people of all ages, races, religious beliefs, backgrounds, sexual orientations, gender identities, abilities, and we have these principles. Our values and principles move us to remember that those of us in the Connecticut River Valley live on the unceded, never ceded homeland of the Pecumtuck, Nonotuck, and Western Nipmuc peoples. We acknowledge our responsibility to confront the legacies of dispossession and systemic racism that are part of our collective history, and we affirm and celebrate the many legacies that inspire us. We have drawing materials and other ways to occupy hands at the tables in back. Restrooms are that way. And we have a couple of announcements. First of all, online directory. Do you need to have your photo taken for the online directory? How many of you have not yet done that? I see some hands. Okay. Well, after the service today, please look for Melinda in the hallway opposite the Rainbow Room down the hall where the social hour will be held, to have Melinda take your photo and enter into the online directory. This will greatly help Reverend Melissa get to know us quickly and also be an important resource to other members and visitors to USNF. Thank you. Another announcement from the president.
I'm trying to get used to that title there. So good morning. Yes, I'm Terry Herniker, president of USNF, and with a quick announcement. Can everyone hear me? You may have seen the Gazette article about USNF on Saturday. The picture of our ceiling was gorgeous, but the statement that our repair and renovation project is slated for completion this week, it is inaccurate. We do anticipate the work being done earlier than expected, but we do not yet have an exact date for our return to the Great Hall for services. The logistics and person hours that it took to move our services here were substantial, and any changes to this plan would be surprisingly complicated. Our current plan is to continue to meet at Bombyx through the summer. We'll provide an update on the project at the end of this month. If you have any questions, please see me after the service. I'll be folding chairs. You can also email presidents@uunorthampton.org. Thank you.
But this is the last week that we will be meeting in this part of Bombyx. All our future services are in the main sanctuary. Yeah. It's a good thing. We should be handing out medals at the end for especially those of you who are sitting in the chairs and back that don't even have this little bit of upholstery. But it's still glorious to be together. We're here to celebrate, reflect, support one another, and hear this wonderful discussion. It's so good to be together. Now, let's enjoy the prelude, which I'm going to sing for you. Usually we have a meditation as part of the service. This time we're doing the meditation at the beginning and it's a song. I wrote this song when I was 19 and I wrote it to give myself a singing meditation. I was in college at the time at Williams up the road, but I came from Los Angeles, and you'll be able to tell from the lyrics that the author was in that situation. And I rode crew for Williams, which is the most blissful experience I can describe. Anyway, when I was feeling hot and frustrated at home, I would yearn to be on the waters of Lake Onoda, rowing with my teammates in the rain, which is an extraordinarily wonderful transcendental experience. And when I was far from home at Williams and yearning for my family, I would remember sunset hours at home with my beloved family. So this is that kind of meditation, and I hope it works for you as well as it has worked for me. In the evening, early evening, anytime, when the smoke clears away and the skyline is clear, is clear, is clear, is clear. It's clear. It's so clear. Oh, life is good. Surely there's time enough for everything. In the morning, early morning, rolling in the rain, and the raindrops fall so softly, and everything is one. Is one. Is one. Is one. Is one. It's all one. Oh, life is good. Surely there's time enough for everything. We're together, laughing. And some low flying plane passes by, and I thank God I'm breathing. To cry, live, try to love. Oh, life is good. Surely there's time enough for everything. Morning. How do I sound? I wanted to start with some thank yous. That was incredible. This flurry of activity to make something happen together. That is who we are in this community. That's what this service is about. And it has me in tears before I even begin. So thank you to Elaine and to all the volunteers and to everybody who jumped up to make this happen. I also want to thank my wife, Liz, my daughter, Alice. They always help me with everything, but really this time, I would not have gotten through this if they hadn't helped. And in fact, Alice wrote some of the lines in the sermon. If you haven't already guessed from the serendipity of what happened this morning, today I am hoping has the vibe of an early 1980s Congregationalist youth group. Which means it's a little chaotic, it's a little unbalanced. We're out of the norm, we're out of the mainstream, we're out of our everyday life, but we're going to make something amazing happen together. And to that end, I think for the rest of the songs, you will know the words, so sing along to everything, whether it's a hymn or an interlude. The postlude is particularly a banger from the youth group. And now the opening words from Rumi. Today, like every other day, we wake up empty and frightened. Don't open the door to the study and begin reading. Take down a musical instrument. Let the beauty we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. And now our chalice lighting. I invite you to rise in body or spirit for our chalice lighting, and we will remain standing for the first hymn. Please read in unison with me, and we have the words on the screen. We light our chalice as a beacon of faith, a sign of our quest for truth and meaning. We light our chalice as a beacon of love in celebration of the life we share together. Our opening hymn is hymn 21, For the Beauty of the Earth. And we're doing this in C, so all you tenors. For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the sky, for the love which from above over around us lies. Source of all, to thee we raise. It's our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of being died, for the that my steed life, for the mystic harmony, making sense to sound and sight. Source of all to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the wonder of each hour of the day and of night. Hill and vale and tree and flower, sun and moon and stars abide. Source of all to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of you came, for every brother and child. For the kitchen we share, for all gentle thoughts and mild. Source of all to thee we praise. Yes, our hymn of grateful praise. Outstanding. It's time now for our greeting. I'm going to make an announcement. That there's a red Ford parked in the wrong place. A red Ford with a license plate that starts with 1X parked in the wrong place. Greet the Zoom people? Should I greet the Zoom people? If you like, it doesn't seem like these people can hear me very well.
People in here?
Yeah. Oh, it's for the Zoom people.
Yeah.
Got it.
Good, good.
Yeah. And greeting the people on Zoom. It's nice to see you waving to each other. I see Claire. Good morning, Kate. Good morning, Alice. Good morning, Naomi. Two Naomis. Good morning, Sid and Stacy and Arlene. Good morning, Barbara and Beth and Chris and Diane and Faye and Jean and Mary and Rich and Sally and Mary Beth and Nancy. Welcome. Okay. Our first reading today is from the 2014 speculative novel Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. Station 11 is a pandemic novel that is not about a pandemic. Most of the narrative occurs 20 years after the Georgian flu has killed 90% of humans. Mandel has said in interviews that she wanted to consider a post-technological world, to respond to the longing people have to be free of technology. She needed a device to facilitate that, and she chose a pandemic. In 2020, this seemed extraordinarily prescient, and the novel experienced a resurgence of interest. Like the author, I am much more fascinated by the post-technological aspect of the novel than I am by the event of the pandemic. Like most of you, I've lived through, like many of you, we have people of all ages here. Like many of you, I've lived through and continue to live through multiple pandemics, HIV/AIDS, sexual and gender-based violence, COVID-19. What draws me back to this novel again and again is my own longing to be free of technology, my own curiosity and fears about our imperiled future, and my own tenderness for the world that I have lived in, as flawed and imperfect and harmful as it may have been. New York Times podcaster Ezra Klein has described this novel as making the reader nostalgic for the world you are living in right now. This is the excerpt of the novel that renders that nostalgia most poignantly. An incomplete list. No more diving into pools of chlorinated water, lit green from below. No more ball games played out under floodlights. No more porch lights with moths fluttering on summer nights. No more trains running under the surface of cities on the dazzling power of the electric third rail. No more cities. No more films, except rarely, except with a generator drowning out half the dialogue, and only then for the first little while until the fuel for the generators ran out. No more screens shining in the half light as people raised their phones above the crowd to take photographs of concert stages. No more concert stages lit by candy-colored halogens. No more electronica, punk, electric guitars. No more pharmaceuticals. No more certainty of surviving a scratch on one's hand, a cut finger while chopping vegetables for dinner, a dog bite. No more flight. No more towns glimpsed from the sky through airplane windows, points of glimmering light. No more looking down from 30,000 feet and imagining the lives of those lights, the lives lit up by those lights at that moment. No more airplanes. No more requests to put your tray table in its upright and locked position. No more countries, all borders unmanned. No more fire departments, no more police, no more road maintenance or garbage pickup. No more spacecraft rising up from Cape Canaveral, from Baikonur Cosmodrome, from Vandenberg to Nagashima, burning paths through the atmosphere into space. No more internet. No more social media. No more scrolling through litanies of dreams and nervous hopes and photographs of lunches, cries for help and expressions of contentment and relationship status updates with heart icons, whole or broken, plans to meet up later, pleas, complaints, desires, pictures of babies dressed as bears or peppers for Halloween. No more reading and commenting on the lives of others, and in so doing, feeling slightly less alone in the room. No more avatars. Our generosity makes everything we do here possible, and it helps us support organizations and movements in the greater community. Half of the proceeds of each week's offering support the Society's operating budget, and half are shared outside our walls. You can mail in a check, donate online, or put your contribution in one of the plates that the ushers will pass. The offering will now be given and gratefully received.
It's a song by Gil Turner called Carry It On. And some of you may be already familiar with it from multiple covers that have been done of it. But it's pretty easy to pick up. You know, you'll pick it up. There is one beside me walking. There's a voice within me talking. There's a word that needs saying. Carry it on, carry it on, carry it on, carry it on. They will tell their lying stories, send their dog to bite our bodies. They will lock us in a prison. Carry it on, carry it on, carry it on, carry it on. All their lives will be forgotten, and all their thugs will lie there rotten, and all their prison walls will crumble. Carry it on, carry it on, carry it on, carry it on. You can't go any longer. Take the hand held by a brother. Every victory's gonna bring another. Here we go. Carry it on, carry it on, carry it on, carry it on. There is one beside me walking. There's a voice within me talking. There's a word that needs a saying. Carry it on, carry it on, carry it on. Carry it on, carry it on, carry it on. The second reading is also from the novel Station 11. A central plot line in Station 11 concerns the movements of the Traveling Symphony, a troupe of actors and musicians who 20 years after the collapse of civilization caused by the Georgian flu, circuit the Great Lakes region performing classical music and Shakespeare plays. They have committed their lives in the New World to performing arts because survival is insufficient. Because survival is insufficient. That is the Star Trek quote that graces their lead vehicle. And they've chosen these specific art forms because, in the words of one of the players, people want what was best about the world. The Traveling Symphony is a community like any other, as you'll hear in this excerpt. One of the idiosyncrasies of this community is that the symphony members refer to one another by their orchestra positions, including the guitars, who take it a step further and never retire a player's number. So that although there are fewer than 7 guitars currently in the symphony, there is a character known as the 7th guitar. The main characters are also known by their given names. And so with that introduction, another excerpt. The problem with the Traveling Symphony was the same problem suffered by every group of people everywhere since before the collapse, undoubtedly since well before the beginning of recorded history. Start, for example, with a third cello. He had been waging a war of attrition with Dieter for some months, following a careless remark Dieter had made about the perils of practicing an instrument in dangerous territory, the way the notes can carry for a mile on a clear day. Dieter hadn't noticed. Dieter did, however, harbor considerable resentment towards the second horn because of something she'd once said about his acting. This resentment didn't go unnoticed. The second horn thought he was being petty.
But when the second horn thought of people she didn't like very much, she ranked him well below the seventh guitar. But the first flute was less irritated by the seventh guitar than she was by the second violin, August, who was forever missing rehearsals, always breaking into another house with Kirsten, like he thought the symphony was a scavenging outfit who played music on the side. If he wanted to join a scavenging outfit, she'd said to the fourth guitar, why didn't he just join a scavenging outfit? You know what violins are like, the fourth guitar had said. August was annoyed by the third violin, who liked to make insinuating remarks about August and Kirsten, even though they'd only ever been close friends. And the third violin resented the first violin following a long ago argument about who had used the last batch of rosin, while the first violin was chilly to Said because Said had rejected her overtures in favor of Kirsten, who expended considerable energy in trying to ignore the viola's habit of dropping random French words into sentences, as though anyone else in the entire symphony spoke French, while the viola harbored secret resentments against someone else, and so on and so forth, etc. And this collection of petty jealousies, neuroses, undiagnosed PTSD cases, and simmering resentments lived together, traveled together, rehearsed together, performed together, 365 days of the year, permanent company, permanent tour. But what made it bearable were the friendships, of course, the camaraderie and the music and the Shakespeare, the moments of transcendent beauty and joy, when it didn't matter who had used the last of the rosin on their bow or who anyone had slept with. Although someone, probably Said, had written Sartre, Hell is Other People, in pen inside one of the caravans. And someone else had scratched out other people and substituted flutes. Another song.
We don't have the lyrics presented of this one, but a bunch of you may know it. It's called What a Wonderful World. And my mildly arthritic fingers are gonna make some mistakes on the fourth fret here, but doesn't matter. We are a traveling company, 365 days of the year. Close enough. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them blue for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright, blessed day, the dark, sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. You sound beautiful, by the way. The colors of the rainbow so pretty in the sky, and also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world, wonderful world. Yes, I say to myself, what a wonderful world.
The idea that speculative fiction, or fiction that imagines realities other than our own, can fuel our courage to live into a future that reflects our deepest values and our most vulnerable hopes is not at all original. And for a much more robust exploration of speculative fiction and the social justice imagination, I commend to you the efforts of Adrienne Marie Brown and her work to elevate and celebrate the brilliance of novelist Octavia Butler. My project here is much more humble. I want to tell you how this single speculative novel, Station 11, has captured my imagination, what it asks of me in the muddle of this moment, and how I hope any of us can respond to its questions. A novel set in an imagined future, by definition, begs the question, what will the future be like? I find this question completely impossible. When I tune into it, my mind goes completely blank, kind of like the fuzz on the screen earlier. I wonder if this is because I no longer understand, if I ever did, what the present is like. I was 7 years old at the nation's bicentennial, a true believer in American exceptionalism, in my Betsy Ross cap and apron. Did any of you get dolled up like that by your parents in 1976? Yeah, I commiserate. Unlike my young adult daughter, who was raised with much more awareness of the grotesque injustice at the foundation of this nation, I have had to come to an understanding that the United States and all our institutions and power and wealth rest on a foundation of imperialism, genocide, and enslavement. I no longer think of economics as an abstraction, but instead believe capitalism to be an extractive, dehumanizing system that is a gross injustice to all people. Worst for the most marginalized, obviously, but overall blunting human creative potential, draining the life force from most of us, and imperiling the planet's very survival via climate disaster to serve the greed of very few. I've had to dismantle the racism I was taught that took root in me. I have to keep doing this every day. This is perhaps a hyperbolic and extreme opening to a sermon. But what I mean to say is I have grown away from the certainty that I was raised with as a child of the 70s, raised by boomer parents born in the 40s. For at least some of my adulthood, I had enough faith in the social constructs of our world to give me confidence in navigating my life. I thought I knew the steps: get an education, get a job, buy a house, save for retirement. Now, moving into elderhood, I feel less certain about how to navigate the human-built world than ever before. Everything seems completely made up and fragile, which is one reason why I think a novel that takes place after it all falls apart appeals to me so much. How easy would it be to lose corporate jargon, celebrity culture, social media, That's what Mandel imagines. But in the real world, climate activists tell us we're going to lose access to clean water. We're going to lose coastal cities. We're going to lose species. We may lose our own species. So how do we live in such an imperiled and existential moment? What would survival even mean in these circumstances? And if survival is insufficient, how do we cultivate what is best about the world? What do we steward when so much feels made up and fragile? How do we ground ourselves? I have two ideas. It's like this. The Reverend Victoria Safford wrote of finding a stone in an old New England graveyard that read, "She attended well and faithfully to a few worthy things." I have identified two worthy things to which I am attending right now, one in my home and one in this congregation. In the din of a world on fire, in the hallucination of the digital world, in a world sucked hollow by technology and grift and abstraction, these things that need attending feel uniquely real and necessary. I am bringing my attention to endeavors that will endure for as long as humans survive, whatever survival means, and that I hope will make survival worthwhile. And it is my further hope that by attending to these things as a practice, I will grow towards, if not new certainties, then renewed confidence in my approach to navigating the world. If I have a quibble with the novel Station 11, it is that there is not enough description of invasive plant species. There are overgrown suburban lawns here and there, but I think 20 years after the end of fossil-fueled flatbeds pulling up with fossil-fueled riding mowers, weed whackers, and leaf blowers every week. Side note, can you imagine the peace of a world without leaf blowers? Truly idyllic. I think in that post-lawn care world, some of the unchecked invasives would have already taken down trees, if not buildings. On the third of an acre where my home sits, it seems as though the bittersweet and swallowwort would engulf us in a single summer if it was not for the biweekly ministrations of youth group member Otto Ewing to beat them back. In the last year and a half, I have undertaken a project to reclaim the land my little house sits on and reestablish habitat by removing invasive plants and installing native plants to build biodiversity and support pollinators. It is essential that I convey to you that that sentence contains everything that I know about native plant gardening. Reestablish habitat, remove invasive plants, install native plants, build biodiversity, support pollinators. I am so much more a student of this project than its author. I have lived on this land for 25 years, but I know almost nothing of those who lived here before me. In my house, to say nothing of the time before there were houses and European settler colonists. And I know almost nothing of those who live on the land with me. Until we brought home our little dog, I did not realize that the cottontail rabbits that hop across the lawn make their nests in the haphazard hostas and daylilies that preceded our native planting project. The dog alerted us. I had absorbed from the climate educators around us the importance of pollinators in human life. The organization Protect Our Pollinators tells us that pollinators are bees, butterflies, hummingbirds, and other animals which feed from flowers, transferring pollen in the process. Nearly 80% of all flowering plants need pollinators to transfer pollen in order to produce fruits, seeds, and vegetables. 1 out of every 3 bites of food we eat depends on the work of pollinators. I knew that I had an opportunity in reclaiming my lawn to support this work, to invest in something bigger than myself, but I had no idea how to begin. By some blessing, the professional that I identified to support us is not your run-of-the-mill landscaper. She's not even your run-of-the-mill native pollinator garden landscaper, but a renowned authority and leader of the Jewish environmental education movement, whose website promises beautiful, low-maintenance landscapes that nourish the whole ecosystem. ecosystem. And the education I'm receiving is not just the rudiments of watering and weeding, on which I am, once again, a rank beginner, but also spiritual, ethical, and frankly religious. This teaching goes beyond the instruction to pray for the most precarious plantings, which I have effected by singing hymns as I complete the watering task. I don't really believe in intercessional prayer, so I'm singing hymns to the shrubs. But before that, as we built a shared vision of insect and bird hosting shrubs, trees, ferns, and flowers, as I committed to deliveries of plants and mulch, and as we negotiated the optimal sitting places for the people who live here now, I had this moment where I got cold feet about the entire project. I didn't know if this was how we should invest our money and time. Being divorced from the conventional wisdoms of my youth has made me more indecisive than I used to be about pretty much everything. Is this the right thing to do? I asked my teacher/landscaper. She met my hesitance with a biblical mandate. Humans have an obligation to tend and to till, she told me. This is Genesis chapter 2, verse 15, alternately translated from the Hebrew as to dress and to keep, or to cultivate and to guard. The first human was put into a natural world that would provide their sustenance, the verse tells us. But that abundance is coupled with an obligation to steward it. I have found biblical religions, including the Christianity of my upbringing, generally stronger on obligation and mandate than Unitarian Universalism. But I received this teaching as a deeply Unitarian command, referencing one of our core values. It was as if I had been grabbed by the front of my shirt and told, "You are part of an interdependent web of all existence. You get to live here. You get to have what you need, but you have to give back." It was the come up and the clarity that I needed to move forward as a student of ecological repair and reparations, which I'll approach as a practice. Learning to care for the new plantings has meant learning to see this patch of land, being curious about what the living things around me need, putting down the main character energy of homeowner, and considering myself in interdependence with the earth, the plants, the insects, the animals that are here now, and those that will come in future, including the human animals. Which brings me to the second thing I find worth stewarding: community. I hope it's not a spoiler to tell you that Station 11 ultimately concludes that hell is neither other people nor flutes. Hell is the absence of the people that you long for. Hell is the absence of the people that you long for. Approaching elderhood, I am surprised to find myself in the same uncertain beginner stance regarding community that I do regarding my garden. For many years, my community of proximity was defined by the child I was raising and the young people in our orbit. But those children have launched, and they are far from me, even if texting with them is the brightest part of my day. Most of the dearest friends of my heart are outside of my daily orbit. Communities that I was part of for a season have fallen away and out of touch, sometimes quietly and sometimes with sharp hurt. By this time in life, some of those I have loved most fiercely have died. And our own COVID-19 pandemic pushed me to a solitude and an interiority that I have yet to really emerge from 5 years past the worst of it. So it appears that finding and cultivating community for this stage of life will be a practice, not unlike the practice of tending my garden, one of paying attention, curiosity, acknowledging obligation, and showing up. How amazing then to find this religious community in what feels like a glorious resurgence. I have felt absolutely swept along in our collective gratitude and fellowship with Reverend Eric, and our shared enthusiasm and excitement to meet Reverend Melissa and journey with her a while. I think I have laughed more with members of this congregation in the last year than in the previous 25 years that I've been a member here. Our residency here at Bombyx is a tangible manifestations of the ways we've pushed beyond habitual comfort zones into community with other faith communities and our own history. It is this collective stretching that supports me in stretching myself. In trying to find my place here for this season of my life, I attended a workshop we hosted on resilient communities. For it is resilient communities that will be our lifeline in a climate-blighted future. And there, I bemoaned the fact that I cannot be present here in the ways that I have been during other seasons of my life, due to health limitations and due to the demands of a job that has great meaning, but to which I would not commit the best hours of my one wild and precious life were it not for the pressures of extractive capitalism. I want to serve on committees again, I whined. I want to be as active as the retired people, like I was when I was a stay-at-home mom. To which one of my elders told me, that's not your story right now. Which is to say, you can't do that in this moment, and that doesn't mean you don't have a place here. One of the signs of being held in community is having an elder who knows you and sees you and can tell you a deep truth about yourself, even when you'd rather have it otherwise. Another is wanting to connect more and give more. And another is being held and accepted where you are. I believe that one of the things that is best about this world is the way that people together can be more than any one of us alone. The way we bounce off of one another, interdependent as pollinators and plants. The way the whole is made different, more complex, more resilient by the presence of each individual. The way that each of us is an emissary of all the communities that have formed us into every other relationship and community we enter. While I am belly aching my inability to attend worship committee meetings on Tuesday nights in the church basement like I did a decade ago, I'm also trading theology with the landscaper as we monitor the garden. I'm greeting Otto at the door when he comes to mow and visiting with fellow congregants on the streets of our little neighborhood. I'm telling a colleague with young children about our religious education program, especially OWL. I'm using my Unitarian values to discern how to vote in my town's bruising override decision and which candidates to work for in the midterm elections. And I'm using the examples of our Democracy Action team, especially David Reutman and Susie McCrae, to keep going when I feel tired or scared. And when one of the young people who now looks to me as an elder calls looking for guidance, scared and sad and grieving, I am able to extend compassion, presence, and maybe even wisdom because I am rooted in this faith and buoyed by all of you. I know how to show up because I've seen you show up. So I want to end by lifting up something I felt very deeply during one of Reverend Eric's last services, if not the very last. Every role here matters. We are all, every one of us, deeply indebted to those volunteers who do the work of the congregation, the vast sea of committees and work groups, of social justice and climate justice actions. But it is also true that just showing up matters. Coming to worship matters. Greeting your neighbors matters. Opening your hearts to the values of Unitarian Universalism and letting those values animate your life beyond our religious community matters. The way we build community at the foundation is through moments of connection and attention, through presence that slips without warning into camaraderie, friendship, transcendence, and joy. Communities such as ours may well be the key to our survival. They are certainly what will make survival worthwhile. May it be so. Our final hymn is Winds Be Still, number 83. Please stand as you are able.
Thank you, Lynn Marie, for that beautiful sermon. I'm doing this in G. Hopefully everybody can find a way to sing it. Winds be still, storm clouds pass and silence come. His grace this time with harmony. Fly bird of hope and shine light of love and in let all find tranquility. Birds fly high, lift our gaze toward distant view. Help us to sense life's mystery. Fly high and fly, lead us each to see how we move through the of eternity. Light shining, illuminate our inward view. Was to see with clarity. Shine bright and true, so we may join our song in new sound and become.
I would be remiss if I did not thank my teacher and landscaper, Neely Simhai. Our closing words are from the poet Adrienne Rich. My heart is moved by all I cannot save. So much has been destroyed. I have to cast my lot with those who, age after age, perversely, with no extraordinary power, reconstitute the world. Please sing along with the postlude.
You don't already know this one. Oh, how you will know it in a couple minutes. This is John Denver's song. Whoa. John Denver is talking to us from the astral plane. All right. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rain comes tumbling down. Pulling weeds and picking stones, folks are made of dreams and bones. Feel the need to grow my own, 'cause the time is close at hand. Rain for grain, sun and rain, find my way in nature's chain. Build my body and my brain to the music from the land. Plant your rows straight and strong, temper them with prayer and song. Mother Earth will make you strong if you give her love and care. Old crow watching hungrily from his perch in yonder tree. In my garden, I'm as free as a feather deep up there. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe when a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rain comes tumbling down. Your earworm for the rest of your life. Enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you.